Let's wrap this up with a very interesting discussion on the upcoming presidential election, because Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, they are massively, wildly unpopular, despite becoming the Republican and Democratic presumptive nominees. Voters are starting to look in other places for other candidates, including Dr. Jill Stein. She previously ran as the Green Party nominee in 2012. She's expected to be the nominee again for the Green Party this year, and she joins me now. Welcome, Dr. Stein.
Great to be with you, Kennedy.
So I've been talking a lot on this show about third-party candidates, independent candidates, extra-party candidates, whatever you want to call yourselves, because never before have we seen such a wave of anti-establishmentism and people clamoring for authenticity. How are you meeting that challenge with voters who might be turning to you?
Well, a lot of voters are turning. In fact, about half of Bernie's supporters have refused to go back into the Democratic Party, into that counter-revolutionary party, and bury the work they've been doing. And so many other Americans, we know half, in fact, more than half of Hillary's supporters don't actually support Hillary.
Yeah.
They're just opposing Trump, and the same is true for Trump supporters. So I am the one candidate in this race that does not take money from lobbyists, from super PACs and PACs. So I actually have the liberty to stand up for what the American people are clamoring for, an emergency jobs program that will solve the emergency of the climate change, ending student debt by canceling it like we did for the friggin' bankers who crashed the economy, health care and education as human rights, and a foreign policy that's not getting us into these catastrophic regime change wars that are making us less secure, not more secure.
What I'm most concerned with is getting you and Gary Johnson on that presidential debate stage. How can we do it so there are more voices and more people can see the two of you challenge these establishment candidates?
Well, I want to thank you for, having the integrity as a journalist to actually cover the candidates that aren't being covered, and that includes Gary Johnson's campaign and mine as the two really alternative candidates. We're both on the ballot now for about the same number of states. We're both heading to be on the ballot for all of voters, or just about all of voters. And, our belief is that voters not only have a right to vote, they have a right to know who they can vote for. Our numbers have tripled, Kennedy. They've tripled over the past months, from 2% up to 7% in the latest CNN poll.
Yeah.
And that's just, even before we started giving coverage. I think word is just getting out that there's hope for the younger generation. They don't have to spend their lives as indentured servants. And that word is getting out really with a life of its own. But by, covering us, you're making it possible for us to rise further in the polls. And I think it's very likely we can get to that 15%.
Are you offended that Hillary Clinton is running as though she's the only woman who's ever run for the presidency?
Yes, I think there's more than one reason to be offended here. It's not only
because she's a corporatist warmonger?
Well, yes, that would have something to do with it. And she pretends to be, the be-all, end-all for women. But, the cause of women is not served by someone who, argued to push down living wages in Haiti, for example, where she took the impoverished wage of 60 cents an hour and led the charge to push it down to 40 cents an hour. The cause is not served by providing health care for children, but not for their parents. How are sick parents going to take care of their kids? By providing child care, but neglecting our need for jobs in order to, need the child care in the first place. So there's a much bigger story to be told here about how we really meet the needs of women and children and our families.
All right, well, maybe you and Governor Johnson can come on at the same time. I would love to continue the discussion. Good luck with your campaign. I know you're appealing to those Bernie supporters who feel very underserved by the Democratic establishment. And thanks again for your time.
Thank you. Great to talk with you, Kennedy.
Very good.